So what I will do now is to give you 3 examples of how we've been working with these bacteria we got to understand type 2 diabetes. So, first thing, I mean, I've been involved in a lot of genomic research, and we've spent millions of dollars to find out which genes are actually important for type 2 diabetes development. And honestly, it has been a disappointing journey. And some of you may have seen there was a recent issue of Nature showing that even if you take a huge number of individuals, 300,000 individuals, and you test for all the genes, what you find is almost nothing. So this is just one cartoon here showing that until now we have about 100 genes that positively are associated with type 2 diabetes, but they explain less than 10%. Meaning from a clinical point of view, genomics is not very valuable here, at least not at the present stage. So then of course we asked, being very fond of gut bacteria, we asked what about the gut bacteria and type 2 diabetes? And what we did quite some time ago, we made a study in the Han Chinese population, examining quite a number of type 2 diabetic patients and normal individuals in the Chinese population. And what we could see there was very clearly that there are clearly some bacteria that are associated with controlled persons without type 2 diabetes, and clearly a lot of bacteria that are enriched in type 2 diabetic patients. And as Manny explained, having these extensive catalogs of genes, we can actually ask what is going on here. And it was very clear, and it's something we observed in a lot of diseases like obesity and inflammatory bowel disease. What is very typical is that enzymes or genes that are involved in the production of butyrate in the bacteria is always diminished or is reduced in these individuals. So that means that butyrate production is probably diminished. We have some more studies now from pigs actually can show, yes, indeed, there is a correlation between these genes and butyrate in the feces. And butyrate is a very, very important factor in terms of gut health. So these individuals with type 2 diabetes, they have less butyrate in their feces, they have less butyrate to produce to affect their intestinal system. And also they have increased oxidative stress signals, and they have a lot of problems. So very clearly, if you remember what I said, if you look at the genomic components, until recently, the highest risk gene associated with type 2 diabetes was this TCF7L2, and it has an odds ratio of increased risk about 1.747, which is virtually nothing. Recently, there was another study from our good friends in the Metabolic Center at the University of Copenhagen that identified one gene in the Inuit population in Greenland. This gene is quite interesting because it's quite abundant in the Inuit population, Eskimos, but it's not relevant for us. It only exists in that population. Here, it actually increases the risk dramatically. However, if we go to the Chinese and the Caucasian population, you can see we find some bacteria that actually increases the risk of having type 2 diabetes quite significantly. This Clostridium here about 6 times. This is quite dramatic. 23 times increased risk if you have this bacteria. So now we're talking about things that might be very important. And of course, we have some other bacteria that might be even more influential. So it would be very interesting to maybe somehow deplete these bacteria from your blood, or maybe even sort them out. So this was where we were. And now I'll continue with a new study which hasn't been published yet, which we did in collaboration with the VIII hospital in Shanghai. And this is a sort of multi-center randomized open-label and positive-controlled clinical trial comparing 2 pharmaceuticals that are used in the Han Chinese population, either acarbose, which is an inhibitor of glycosidases in the intestine, and a normal sulfonylurea herbicide. And what we did was we had 171 drug naive, meaning people just admitted to the hospital with signs of type 2 diabetes, and they were randomized into 2 groups, either for acarbose or herbicides. There was 94 patients that completed the study, and we had a lot of samples here, and we had samples collected at baseline after 3 months. what is interesting here is that we can actually see that there is a clustering of these individuals into two clusters, like introtypes that Emmanuel talked about. So, and this clustering is maintained is maintained after treatment for 3 months. And this goes for the agabose group, it goes for the glipizide group. So it seems as if you have two types of patients here, and now the question is really, can we tell any difference in how effective the two treatments are? First of all, it's very clear if you look at the gene count, which is sort of a proxy for gene richness, it's very clear that in the agabose treatment group, the gene count decreases, which is a little bit counterintuitive because normally we think that reduced gene count is associated with disease. But here actually we see the opposite. Whereas those people who were treated with glipizide, they showed no difference in the gene count number. And this is amazing because after 2 or 3 weeks we could clearly see that the abundance of purgatory had increased in the body. Nice, it shows that the gavage works. But even more amazing, after 2 weeks of gavage, only 2 weeks, we can clearly see that those that received purgatory, they had decreased glucose tolerance very clearly. So, larger excursion. And even more significantly, if you look after 3 weeks, we had to space this measurement 1 week apart. You could see that after 3 weeks there was a clear deteriorated insulin tolerance. So it actually also shows that it shows that there are some causality between purgatory and insulin resistance, and finally looking at the plasma in these mice, after 3 weeks you could see increased brain amino acids. So I think this is very nice. We walk from a human intervention study, a human epidemiological study, into a sort of a proof of principle concept in a mouse study. So the take-home message here is that microbial synthesis of brain amino acids is associated with insulin resistance. And mouse studies use a supplementation with this one bacteria we identified actually indicate a causal relationship between purgatory and its ability to synthesize brain amino acid and insulin resistance. Lots of people have been involved here. Very nice collaboration with the VIII in Shenzhen. A lot of people have been involved, a lot, even more. We had this wonderful collaboration with the VIII Hospital in Shanghai, with in particular Yu and also my own group here, including Nils, who is present, has been very instrumental in a lot of these studies. We had a very nice collaboration with Manny and the rest of the Metabolic Center here. And finally, not least, very, very important collaboration with Susanne Briggs. Without her, we couldn't have done these marvelous experiments. So, thank you for listening.